Hi, I'm Bart Lee, and I've been selling cars at the Ford dealership for, I'll be just 2 weeks shy of 34 years. I'm going to retire at the end of August and come in a little bit after that to take care of customers that have had things ordered for months.
So how'd you get started?
Okay, it's kind of a funny story. I was working for Nay Equipment at the time, and Ron Cropper and I went to breakfast one morning, and Lane Torgeson happened to come in the restaurant, and he just sat down with us and had breakfast. And while we were sitting there, Lane told us he'd just quit his job. He was a salesman there at the Ford store, and that's what I was doing for Nay Equipment. And after breakfast, I just got thinking, I've been a Ford person all my life. I think I'll go down and talk to Rick. And I came down, and Rick and I visited for about an hour, and Rick told me that him and Levere had stayed here till 3 in the morning talking about salesmen and who they were going to add and all. And he told me that my name wasn't even on the list, which kind of surprised him. He says, I've known you forever. I don't know why I didn't think of this. But after we talked a while, Rick he said, does your wife know you're looking for a job? And I said, well, an hour ago I didn't know I was looking for a job. So he told me, he says, you better go tell your wife you got a new job. So I started 6 weeks later, and I've been here ever since. And Rick was a big heads up to get started in the business. Big shout out to him. He's a great person, and he got me started on the right foot. Okay, my first sell was to Michael Haddock. He was from Lake Powell, and it was the second day I was here, and he came on the lot, and Rick says, it's time for you to get started. So I went out and talked to him, and Rick helped me through the sell. We didn't get it all done. That was late in the afternoon, so they stayed overnight and took the car home the next day. My second sell was kind of unique. It was the third day I was here. When I was working for Nays, we had a backhoe program going with the cities, and one of my partners up there told me he'd buy a pickup from me if I gave him all the backhoe contacts. So I told him I had a truck down here that'd work, and he says, okay, I'm going to send my salesman in there, and you send him home with it, with the numbers, and I'll send you a check. So I did that, and he showed up, and he liked the truck, of course, and so I told Kip what I was doing, and Kip says, you just started here, and you're expecting me to send a truck home with some guy I don't know to another guy I don't know without being paid for it. I said, it's fine, Dave, he's good for it. He says, well, that's not the way we do business around here, but he says, I guess you won't last long if he doesn't pay for this truck. So that was two of the unique sales to start me off, but it all went from there. I'd been working here about a month, and we had a Taurus on the showroom floor, and Rick referred to it as hang around brown, and the car was well over a year old, and it had a bonus on it, and he said if anybody wants it, you don't let them out of here without it. Well, we had a gentleman come, and he was pretty tight and Rick and I stayed here. He wanted the car really bad, but didn't want to spend that much money. But Rick and I was here till 7:30 at night. We went through everything on this car. We even put it up on a hoist so we could look underneath it. And the next morning when I came to work, Rick says, he says, what do you think of the car business now? And I told him, I said, Rick, if that was the first car I'd ever sold, I would have never sold two. And the customer and I got to be pretty good friends, and he bought 5 or 6 cars after that, and that was a pretty unique sale too. Some of the unique sales or fun sales I've had over the years is, it was probably 15 years ago. Keith Holt was a tow truck driver in Salina, and he called me one night at about 11 o'clock. We didn't have cell phones, so he called my house about 11 o'clock, and he says, I got some people from Florida that are broke down. He says they got to be in Florida in a couple of days. Have you got something that's cheap that they can go to Florida in? And I said, yeah, I just traded for a Lincoln town car. It's sitting right in front of the building. I says, when you get them over to the dealership, have them look at it. If they like it, I'll sell it to them. He called me back in about 20 minutes, and he says, they like it and it'll work, but there's a stipulation. He says, you got to have them on the road now. And so I says, all right, I'll get out of bed and come over. And we were in the dealership finishing the paperwork up at 1:30 in the morning, but they left and made it to Florida. Another one, I had sold a Mustang GT, and me and the guy was from Vegas, and him and I had talked about getting tickets on the way home, and he left the dealership, and about an hour and a half later he called me and he says, do you know anybody in Iron County? He says, I just got pulled over in this car, and he says, if you know anybody in Iron County, I could use a break. I said, I told you that was going to happen, and he just laughed, and anyway, he ended up paying a pretty good ticket, but he swore he was only going 95 for a short period of time, just passing people, but we all know that wasn't true. When the 6.7 diesels first came out in 2011, they're all screamers. They all go fast, and everybody wanted to race them. Well, Dusty Torgerson and us was out on the airport road, and we stopped over by Central and took off. Dusty's truck was a build-up truck and was pretty fast, and we took off from the stop sign and made the corner around there, and I had beat Dusty going out there, and he beat me on that one coming back. So we stopped for the rubber match just after the turn on the airport road, and took off again, and I was leading him, and the red lights come on behind us. We weren't paying attention when we left the stop sign in Central. The Sevier County Sheriff was sitting at the stop sign on the other side of the road, so he watched us race twice, and I was glad Dusty was there because he talked him out of the ticket, and he thought it was kind of funny, but we use the airport road quite a bit, and there's several times that we've been going with it over 100 several times. Cameron's terrible. You don't want to ride with him when we get something in that's fast, because he'll show you how to go down the airport road. I think probably some of the biggest changes over the years are the numbers. I mean, we were selling trucks when I first came here for $20,000 or $30,000. The first truck I sold that was over $30,000, I sold to a good customer in California, and he liked the trucks decked out, and we decked it out, and it came out, it was $29,900 and some dollars. And I told him, I says, can't you find another piece of chrome we can put on this so I can get my first one over 30? And he did, and so, but it was hard to get trucks over 30, and now in the last 6 months I've sold 4 trucks that have started with a 9. That is a change in our world. But wages are a lot better now than they were then too. The sales staff here at Jorgensen's has not changed a whole bunch since I was here. We've had a few come and go, but we've all got time here and we stay. It's a unique business because we spend more time together than we do with our families, and we're competing head to head for money for commissions. So it's kind of unique that you compete head to head for the money, but you're all friends and everybody helps everybody out. If we need anything or need to run a car here or there or need help with something, everybody here has always been here to help. It's a great bunch of guys that I've worked with, and even the ones that have been here and left, we all worked a lot of years together, and 2 of us have been here for over 30 years and counting. I'm going to retire before Paul does, but I'm a little younger than him, but he's going to keep going. But it's a unique situation that we compete with each other day to day, but we have spent so much time together and get along as good as we do. I'll be here till Wednesday the 31st. We're probably going to have some donuts and cookies. Stop by and say hello those last 2 days, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd like to see everybody and thank everybody in person. Thank you. In the middle of my career, the Jorgensens took over about 25 years ago. It's been good working with them. I was actually selling cars to Mike Jorgensen before they took the dealership over. One thing Dennis won't have to hear again, and he'll like that, is I always say I came with the building. So Dennis never did like that saying, but now at the end of my career, Cameron has taken over the management, and he's done real well. I thought he would be on a lot longer learning curve than he has. He's taken over, he's doing a great job, and he is a great asset for the Ford system. But the Jorgensen family's been real good to me, and they've been good for our business, and they're just great people to work for, and I'm glad I had 25 years with them. One thing that I'm proud of is I've been selling for a long time. I've actually got 2 families that I've sold 4 generations. Started with great-grandfather and grandfather and the fathers. Now I'm selling their grandkids, and there's 2 families. The Jeffreys from Wayne County, they've been good, loyal customers all the way through. Started selling Garn in the beginning, and I've passed it down through Tom and Virginia and the rest of the way down through the generations. It's been really good. The other family is also from Wayne County, and it's the Levitt family. I started selling Ken in the beginning, and then I've actually sold Eric and Darwin and Joy, which is Brent Lundgren's wife, and I've sold their kids and their grandkids too. So it's kind of neat to have the 4 generations in those 2 families. They've been really good families, and they're loyal and great to work with. They've been good through the years, and I'd like to thank them. They've been real good in their families. They're just all great people. One of the big things that we overlook is our support system, which is the sales or the service people, the wash bay, the body shop, in the towing when Jack was here. The support staff is what keeps us going. there's way too many to name them all, but the parts department is just a key place, and the service people. I've always had a saying, and they hate this too. I always said if I needed it tomorrow, I would have brought it tomorrow. And every service manager has hated that through the years, but it is great to work with them, the wash bay people, to get things ready when we need them. Those people actually do all the work just to make us look good. And I'd like to thank all of them through the years. There's been numerous different ones through the years. A lot of mechanics have passed through here in 30 years, and same with the service riders. There's just too many of them to mention them all, but I'd like to thank everybody that's made me look good over the years. And also, I would like to thank my family. Without the family's support, we couldn't make it work. My wife and kids have gone to things alone a lot because sales, we put in a lot of hours, and they've put up with a lot of things. And Melissa said for a lot of years that we can't go anywhere without taking 2 cars because we have to drop one off somewhere on our way. So we've done that through our life, and they have sacrificed a lot. So I want them to know how much I appreciated them and all the support through the years.